Hey guys, Skinny Pigs 1 here. So I am doing my second part of my review. We had switched from Sherwood pellets. We have done it for a week. So I want to tell you all about the changes we've seen in a week. And I might even do another update because there's still a few more things like I'm waiting to see results on. But I thought it was pretty important to get this out now. A lot of people were waiting on me to tell them my findings, and I was kind of excited about a few things. So be warned, we're going to be talking about poop, we're going to be talking about pee, there's going to be pictures of poops, comparisons on screen. So I'm just telling you now. I think the easiest thing for me to do is just go from cage to cage to tell you what things I was hoping to see change and what things I did see change. So first we're going to start off with Bullseye and Angus. So for these boys, they had really smelly poops. I would say they smelled extremely strong, like really dark, strong tea, if that makes sense to anybody. It was just very like in your face whenever I was sweeping them up. Now I do not smell anything, which is amazing. So these boys didn't really have much for calcium deposits, and they still really don't, just very watered down. Well, I think there's a couple I can show you. So there's a couple little spots. It's no grit, no dust, anything. It's just very watered out. So they're still the same. All of the pigs, I'll tell you right now, eat less pellets. So I feed half the amount. So Sherwood pellets are a bit more expensive, but half the amount of pellets satisfies everybody and lasts them all day. So usually it takes about 12 hours or more for them to finish an 1/8 of a cup between two pigs, which is pretty wild because with our other kind, they couldn't eat enough. And as soon as you put them in the dish, they wolfed them down, ate them like candy, and never seemed satisfied or full. So I think that is pretty telling right there. So the next biggest thing was Bullseye. We adopted him with major digestive issues. He went back and forth to the vet so much. He had so many problems with being backed up, having poop explosions, messy poops, being bloated. It was just a terrible thing. So finally, the only thing that would keep his stomach working properly was giving him Cisapride twice a day, every single day. So for the last 3.5 years, that is what he has had every single day. And any time over those 3.5 years that I tried to cut him back or take him off, he would go right back to being bloated, being backed up, and having terrible, nasty poop. So he is now not on Cisapride. Bullseye will poop and have absolutely normal bowel movements on no Cisapride. Like, that's wild, people. You don't even understand. I can't even comprehend it in my head right now because I have done that for 3.5 years of giving him medication twice a day, trying to get him off of that. Nothing worked. We did all different types of combos of stuff, and here we are. We've switched to healthy pellets with no soy, no wheat, no fillers, and he's pooping on his own. So that is a huge deal. You see, he just peed there, which is a very light amount of calcium coming out. It's not gritty or anything like that. Pigs are always going to excrete extra calcium. You just don't want to see it being like the carbonate sludge. Calcium carbonate sludge. So anyway, how insane is that, guys? Like, that right there speaks volumes to me. So he did really well for transitioning. I'd say about day 2 and 3 he had some weird soft poop. So I was watching him really closely, and then by day 5 his poops totally normalized out. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try to take him off his pellets. He is cleaning his man parts right there. That's another thing. We have him on glucosamine, and now he is able to reach over and clean himself properly. I think he was getting some bad arthritis. So Bullseye is just having a great time. Angus is doing well. I had no complaints for Angus. It took him a little bit to decide to eat the pellets, but he's eating them great. So those are pretty big deals from this cage. Okay, so Apple and Huckle. Huckle, I had no complaints about. So he eats the pellets fine. His poops look great. He never really had calcium deposits, and he still doesn't really. Now, Apple, she is hiding in the hay. She loves to. She had some calcium deposits. Do I still see calcium deposits? Yes. She had some weird poops, and now all of her poops look absolutely normal. So here's some poop examples from Apple. On the left are from Sherwood, and on the right were when we were on Oxbow. So I think you can all tell how much different they are. On the right are the tapered ends, kind of like how Nanaimo's were. Just a very peculiar shape. As for the yeast infection side of things, her vagina has been staying extremely clean. I have no idea if that has to do with the pellets or with our little routine for keeping her tidy, but time will tell. So these guys are the same. Like, they take a lot longer to eat their pellets. This is only 1/8 of a cup for 2 pigs to share, and that lasts them all day. So Apple's calcium deposits are no worse than what they were before. Most of the time they're a lot better looking. One thing I found is any of the pigs with the calcium deposits that used to look a little gritty and chunky, now when I see them are more just like a fine chalk dust, to look more just like pure calcium rather than the calcium carbonate sludge. So all's well with this cage. Okay, so now we have Nanaimo and Raisin. So Nanaimo was a big pig for poop problems. She had the weirdest shaped poops. Every poop was weird, awkward, tapered, just didn't look that great at all. One day of being on the Sherwood pellets and her poops have been normal ever since. So on the left is a poop from Nanaimo, just being on the new pellets for one day. And on the right are the poops that she always had. They were always tapered at the end. These are a little dried out because I left them out for a while so that I'd have something to compare to, because that's how hardcore I am. But anyway, they're always quite soft and tapered at the end, always such weird shapes. And on the left she has a normal poop, which I have never seen from her in over the, what, 1.5 that I've had her. Crazy. So that to me says a lot as well. Both of these girls had a lot of calcium deposits, like a lot, and I have seen that cut in half or more. And just like I mentioned for the other cages, when they do have a little bit heavier calcium deposits, it's more of a very fine white dusty powder. Versus being gritty sludge, so that's a bonus. Same thing as the other cages, these ladies take a lot longer to finish their pellets. Nobody's just sitting at the dish hovering, wolfing them down like candy. Everybody just kind of eats a few and then goes on about their business. So very positive changes for these ladies. Like Nanaimo having normal poops from now on is just amazing to me and just says so much about how much healthier her digestive tract is. So now the trios cage. So firstly, Reece I had no concerns about. Littlefoot I really didn't have any concerns about. Butter Pecan is my bloat pig, backed up pig, and also my sludgy pig. So we'll start off with the sludge. Just like the other cages, she still has some calcium deposits. She's always been the biggest for having tons of sludge. So I still see calcium deposits in the cage here and there. And when she does have a larger amount of calcium come out, again, it's the white dusty powder versus the really creamy, gritty sludge. Which is amazing because she has got some urinary tract infections, which we're actually just finishing clearing up from mass amounts of sludge just before we took her off pellets. So already with her calcium deposits being much more gentle on her system and not so calcium carbonate sludgy, pretty good with that. Because before I felt she was like about one step away from a stone, because calcium carbonate sludge can turn into a stone. Just has to have the right, you know, right things going on in the bladder at the right time for it to change into a stone. So we were one step away, which was scary. She would have lots of pain when passing lots of sludge. So now I feel like we've taken a step back from there, that it's just more just natural calcium that she's not using. For whatever reason, she's a pig that just gets rid of more calcium. So I'm happy about that. The next thing is her bloat and digestive issue. Okay, so these poops are from Pecan. The ones on the left are from Sherwood, and the ones on the right were while we were on Oxbow. I don't have her off of her gas drops yet, but she is off of Cisapride. So she was on Cisapride just like Bullseye because she got to the point where she wouldn't poop properly. She would be bloated and huge all the time. So we had put her on Cisapride and gas drops, and she was doing fairly decent, and then even then she still kept being bloated. So that was one of the biggest reasons I switched to the pellets, because I was kind of a last resort with her. Because it was starting to get scary that even the medication wasn't helping her. So once we switched her over, say about in a day or two of her eating the other pellets, she depuffed big time. So much so that my husband said to me, how come Tubby, that's what he used to call her, doesn't look so tubby anymore? And I was like, well, it's because she's not bloated. It was a huge deal to see her smaller. So I actually even weighed her because I was kind of freaked out thinking like, okay, is she alright? Because she looked that much smaller. She was still the same weight. It's just her sides for like the first time in forever looked normal. So she is off of Cisapride and she's pooping just fine on her own. Only reason I still have her on gas drops is because she's on the antibiotic just for a couple more days. And when your gut flora is getting messed around with antibiotics, there could be some gas forming from an imbalance. So I am having her on probiotics and a bit of gas drops just to make sure we don't have any problems. But I will update you guys as soon as her antibiotics are done. I'm going to get some more probiotics into her, give her a couple days, and then try to take her off the gas drops and see how she does. I can only imagine that she's going to do just fine. But already her being off of the Cisapride is a huge deal. So again, like that just speaks volumes for how much healthier her digestive tract is, that she can be off of Cisapride and on antibiotics, and it's still better than when she was on nothing like antibiotics and having so many problems. So where is Seymour? Oh, Seymour's not around. He's probably back in the boxes. So his big changes are, as I mentioned before, urine output has like doubled at least and is not so concentrated. So it's amazing. His litter box doesn't stink like it did before, and he has a lot more urine output, which is obviously much healthier for him. So all in all, I think our findings are so positive. And all I can say to you guys is just look at your ingredients, compare them. Wouldn't you rather pay for healthy, natural ingredients versus fillers and byproducts? Because when you break down the pellets, wouldn't you rather feed less of something healthy than more of something that's not healthy? And even for my pigs who I didn't necessarily see digestive issues, that doesn't mean that any couldn't happen at any point in time. I honestly feel sad that I didn't have these pellets sooner, because then I think back to what happened with Nanook. What if it was her pellets bothering her stomach and she was taken too soon because of that? Makes me think for a lot of small pets, what if their GI stasis and gastrointestinal issues, what if a lot of them could have been fixed or could have never been happening if they were on healthier pellets with more natural ingredients? Because as I mentioned before, soy and wheat are big problems. The starch in them is not easily digested, and they are known allergens for people and for pets. So who's to say that a lot more pets than we realize don't have intolerances to those and are having silent issues? We all know that guinea pigs will keep things to themselves of what's bothering them for as long as they possibly can. So even if we don't outwardly think some of them are having digestive issues, maybe they are, and they're just not showing us because it's their natural instincts to act like they're okay for as long as possible. So those are my thoughts. I wish I had a switch to these so long ago. So just remember, when you are switching from a pellet that has maybe molasses in them that makes them sweet and very palatable, it's going to take the pigs a bit to be convinced to switch to just hay based, but it's worth it. And even them eating a smaller amount, it packs more of a punch than eating stuff with fillers. So anyway, guys, if you have questions, you can leave them below. I highly recommend, if you have massive questions, that you message Dr. Sherwood. They have a YouTube channel, a Facebook page, they have their website. Check it out for yourself and see if it's right for your pets, because my goodness, was it right for mine.